That assembly was me and a couple other people. But, so from the very beginning, the gift was already there. I didn't know it was going to turn into the thing that it is today. I've had the chance to speak internationally in Japan already, and just travel around. So no fear. No fear is not just a word. Last year, God had me share at my conference, which I'll tell you a little bit more in about a minute, is not a slogan, it's a lifestyle. And the reason why he gave me no fear for the name of my conference when I founded it in 2014, as women, we have a really, really bad habit. There's something you want to do, there's something you know you're called to do, maybe you're just interested in doing that. And out of fear, we make up 1,000,001 excuses about why we can't do it. And I know the speaker previously touched on it. I'm too young. Mary was a teenager and the mother of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm too old. Okay, Sarah was about 100 and the Lord decided to bless her with a child. You know, I don't have enough education. That doesn't, God knows what education you have or don't have when he gives you something to do. It means you're still meant to do it. I was in a networking event just 2 nights ago with a lady who grew up in Detroit when all the factories were closing down, and she's like, her parents got into the drug life when the factory shut down. So she's like, college wasn't even mentioned in her household. They didn't have the money and they didn't have the mindset. Well, she is the owner of the Northwest Event Center by faith. The building used to be owned by a church that it just so happened that she attended when she was a child. And when she drove by and saw it empty, she called them and said, hey, what are you guys doing at the building? Do you know they decided to go in with her 50-50 and let her open her business? No credit check, no whatever. So when God tells you to do something, you don't start telling him why you can't and what you don't have. He knew who you are when he told you to do it. So that is my main mission. I don't want us to be holding back and 20 years down the road, oh, I wish I would have wrote a book and I should have done all of that. And he will give you the resources. I'm going to tell you what no fear stands for. The N in no fear stands for never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. And there are people who will tell you what you can't do, and I'm trying to figure out how do they know, because they're not in my body, and they don't have my mind, and they don't have my spirit. And there's a couple different buckets. Sometimes even your own family will tell you you can't do something. And they don't always mean to hurt you. Sometimes people think they're protecting you. You know, because they tried it, it was too hard. I like to move a little bit. They tried it, it was too hard, so they tell you they can't do it because they think they're protecting you. But in actuality, they're not. They're holding you back. So don't listen to the naysayers. I don't care who they are. Some people will tell you that you can't do it because they're jealous. And we already know that being green with envy is very, very dangerous. So, in the end, and y'all can all answer this question, who determines what you can do? You and God. So don't listen to anybody. And if it's your parents, young people, I had young ladies as current as yesterday tell me that the parents are telling, well, you can't do this because your mindset is too immature. And I said, sweetheart, I'm not saying go against your parents. Be respectful, but you pray and ask God to give you what you need. If they're saying you're not mature enough, then ask God to sharpen your mind. But if you, whatever that is, go for it. And we learn from failing anyway. Sometimes you have to fail. You have to hear some no's to get to more yeses. So never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. The O is for open your mind to the possibility of your greatness. Opening your mind is so key because you can only go as far as you can imagine yourself going. I grew up in a single parent home. My parents were married, but my mother discovered about 5 years in that he was doing stuff that was illegal. And she was like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm not going to jail for anybody. So you take me back to Seattle and you do whatever that is that you're doing. And I'm glad she made that choice. But the thing is, even though we were low income and sometimes we lived in the projects and I had free lunch and, you know, sometimes she was on welfare, her vision was greater than that. My mother did not raise me to think that High Point projects and free lunch and remember the commodity cheese? And I mean, it makes pretty good macaroni and cheese, but she didn't raise me to think that that's all I could do. And I almost started crying and shouting when I was walking through one of those housing projects, I can't even remember the name right now, over the east side, because I work for Girl Scouts, and I used to work for Girl Scouts, and we were flyering the neighborhood, and the vision was just so familiar. Just remember, everybody had a little grill and the little screen, and the screen doors busted out, or the kids decided to write on it. I say, God, I thank you. Look where you brought me from. You have to open your mind. Because if you don't believe you can go there, you won't. You have to have imagination first. I also was a track star, and I used to go hopping over the hurdles instead of just stepping. My coach was like, stand next to the hurdle. So I stood there, and he said, I'm not trying to be gross, but the hurdle is down here. He's like, where's the top of where's your crotch? Up here. He's like, okay, standing still, you already have about 2 inches of clearance, so why are you flying through the air? He said, before you go to bed at night, I need you to close your eyes and visualize just stepping over the hurdle. Just stepping over it. Visualize it. When I got that in my mind, and the next time I had a track meet, I whipped him. I whipped him. And I was gone and moving while the next girl was still flying through the air with the bad form that I used to use. So you have to open your mind. When you're reading magazines and you're watching TV and you think those people are just so lucky, it may have been. Everybody is not going to be a celebrity, but whatever gift you have, there's room for it. Amen. Do you know when I officially became a motivational speaker? 3 days after unexpectedly losing my job only 2 years ago, I went to a networking event, and I stood up, and it's the first time that I said out loud in public that I was a motivational speaker. And then the other people in the room were like, oh, well, what do you speak about? And what do you charge? And I'm like, I don't even know if I charge or when. Or what do you speak about? What's your topic? Who is your audience? In about 4 days, I had 6 speaking engagements, not including my own conference that was already planned down the road. When you open your mind and you start moving, that allows the Lord to get a hold of that and keep taking you down the road when you're in His will. Keep me abreast of the time, please. I want to be obedient. The F stands for fight for what you want. So many of us give up way too easy. Just because something doesn't go your way one time, or one relationship was bad, that doesn't mean you should never try love again. We give up so easy. You have to fight for what you want. Who's ever heard of that fight or flight response? Anybody know what that means? Usually that's physical. If you don't know what that means, you know when you're watching a movie and the woman is walking in the woods by herself in the dark? I don't understand why. She's usually wearing heels and a dress too, which I really don't understand. She's in the woods by herself. She's hearing noises. She's got a decision to make. Is she going to stay there and fight off whatever's behind the bushes, or is she going to run? In that sense, she should run. She's a fool if she doesn't run, unless she's a black belt or something else that we don't know. But that happens in real life. I got my first F ever my freshman year of college in biology. Did I pack up and leave school? No. Was I a little bit stressed? Yes. But my mother understood that when I got an F, I know it was difficult. And that class, they took a class that used to be a whole year and crammed it into one semester. And it was crowded with like 100 students. So it's very difficult. So I had to take some extra classes and boost my GPA back up. And I had some decisions to make, but I didn't decide. I know God meant for me to go to Duke, because we didn't have any money for me to go to Duke. But when we got worried about it, I remember being at church. I was only 16 years old. I was 17 when I graduated from high school. And I was praying, and the Lord spoke to my spirit plain as day, and He said, I was here before the bank was. And I almost felt like I had been corrected audibly. I was like, okay, if you were here before the bank was, then clearly I don't need to worry about the financial aid and what's going on. You're going to work it out. So you have to fight. And I'm going to tell you, if it's too easy, it's probably not worth having. Usually things that are too easy, they're what? They're illegal, or it's not worth anything. Just like when you go and buy cheap clothes, there's a reason why it's cheap. You wash it one time or stretch it too far putting it on, and it's tore up already. My husband is addicted to sunglasses because he thinks he's cute and cool, which I agree. But 6'4" chocolate, you can't beat that. And I've been married 18 years, coming July 10th. The Lord is good, even though neither one of us saw healthy whole marriages. But he's addicted to sunglasses, and he keeps buying cheap ones that are like $1, $5. Like, why don't you just invest in a good pair? Like my Coach prescription sunglasses that I've had for like 2 or 3 years and didn't even have to pay for them because of prescription. So that means I can use. So There's a reason when something is too easy, it's probably going to cost you even more in the end. So fight for what you want and you learn from your mistakes. It doesn't mean give up. The E stands for expose yourself to new things. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And we do that all the time. What sense does that make? We wouldn't do, if I left this building and was going home and took the route to my house, what in the world would make me think that route was going to take me to Dallas instead? I'm driving the way that I know goes to my house, but somehow, all of a sudden, I think it's going to take me to Dallas. That wouldn't make any sense. But we do that in life. You have to expose yourself to new things. I am fortunate that even though we didn't have much money, my mom would pack me up and we used to ride Trailway. Y'all remember Trailway? Before Greyhound only, there were 2 bus companies. By the age of 16, I'd at least driven through every state except for Alaska, Hawaii, and Florida. My mom didn't sit at home feeling sorry just because we couldn't fly. In fact, you see more when you get on the bus and the train. When you're flying, all you see is the clouds. And so that exposure is so important. I don't understand when I meet people who've never left the town, the city they live in. There's a whole culture out there, and I can say that because moving from Seattle, Washington to Oklahoma City, work brought me here. It is night and day. I am still learning. And that's why God has blessed me with my speaking and my writing, because I have a different perspective. I love it here, but there's things that people need to hear if they've never left Oklahoma. You have to get more exposure. Young ladies, don't dress like your friends. Have your own style. My baby is in the room back there. My 10-year-old, she's proud with, my 10-year-old has dreadlocks by her choosing. There's a couple kids who made comments, and you know what's sad? It's the black children making fun of her dreadlocks who don't understand their own culture and history. The other kids think it's cool. Our own children were making fun of her locks by her choosing. I let her dress herself as long as it's appropriate because I want her to be comfortable in her own skin. You don't have to wear whatever. Everybody thinks they're a leader, but then they want to dress just like their friends. They shop at the same place. They go to the same store. Break out of the shell. Break out. I told my husband, I said, I'm not going to raise children who only know sports and the movies. I like those things. I'm a sports fan and I like the movies.